Welcome to Living Life in Love with Vitiligo. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. This is a global vitiligo awareness and education podcast. You will hear the true and authentic stories from people living with vitiligo. You'll also hear from their loved ones, medical professionals, licensed mental health therapists, relationship counselors, global vitiligo support foundations and organizations, and so much more. Sit back and enjoy living life and love with vitiligo. Once again, I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. Welcome to Living Life and Love with Vitiligo. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. So today's show, I was supposed to have a special guest on. Unfortunately, she's under the weather. So this will be a two-part discussion. First, you'll get me with a little bit of information. Then I'll have my guest on who is a licensed therapist. So let's talk a little bit. People say, well, vitiligo is on the surface. It's what you see on the outside. And that's so true. But it's what you don't see is what's so important and impactful to the person living with vitiligo. And that's the emotional and mental challenges that we face, and sometimes spiritual, with having this condition. Now, even for myself, I can sit here and say, oh, no, I didn't experience anything. No, I'm good. I've always been good. But that's not true. I went through anxiety, and to this day, I still get a little bit of anxiety, if I'm wearing shorts. Do I want to wear shorts today? Do I want to go out in public with shorts on? Or public settings, somebody might invite me to go to something big, and I have this anxiety about being around all these other people, and although they may look at my spots and not care at all, I have to live with them. And that's one of the things with vitiligo, is that anxiety that really hits you hard. But not just anxiety, there's depression. A lot of us went through a stage of depression because you're watching your skin change. You remember how you used to look to where you are now. And those of us who are still transitioning with your vitiligo, you just don't know. You don't know how much spread you're going to get or how much pigmentation you're going to lose. And that's one of the things with vitiligo that really impacts us. And sometimes it makes us say, why me? Yeah, we question it. Why am I the one that needs to go through this challenge? Or why am I the one to get vitiligo? And why not this other person? What is it about me that, if you're religious, you say, hey, God, why did you choose me to go through this? And the answer sometimes is maybe you're strong enough to be able to share your story with someone else. Maybe your story can help somebody be inspired, or to give them that strength to go to the next stage in their life. Because you never know what our story is going to do for somebody out there. But I've done a little bit of research in terms of vitiligo and mental health, and I've been on PubMed a lot, looking at different clinical trials that have been conducted over the years. And it's very fascinating to know or to recognize that there is a correlation, a correspondence between mental health and vitiligo. And I have some information. So if you see me looking down, I'm just checking my information I have here. There's several different things that we go through, and the connection they found in this particular study, there's many, there's like thousands of articles. I looked at least 4 or 5, but this one in particular that I looked at, it was done back in 2019 by the European Academy of Dermatology and Venereology. And what they found was that people that have vitiligo were hospitalized more than those that didn't. And some of the mental health disorders they found, and you have to excuse me if you see me looking off, because I'm going to read these because there's so much in this. I can tell you about the anxiety, depression, suicidal risk, personality disorder, ADD, ADHD, and conduct disorder, substance use disorder, childhood and adolescent psychiatric illnesses, alcohol-related disorders, adjustment disorders, developmental disorders, impulse control disorders, and so many more mental health disorders that were associated with vitiligo, and for those that were hospitalized for it. And, sometimes even within the community, I think, oh, it can't be that bad. It can be for some people. And that's the thing we need to understand, that when it comes to our mental health, everyone's different and everyone is going to tackle the challenges differently. Some people are going to seek help. Some people are going to use alcohol, some drugs. Some may go to other ways to help them manage what's happening to them internally with vitiligo. We see the external, but we don't see the internal stuff. Emotionally, we can be happy, sad, frustrated, all these things rolled up in one. Anger is a big one. I went through that. It was a phase. I was just angry. I was mad because I don't know what's going on with my body. Um, I'm watching my skin change. I'm watching how people interact with me. Some people, even to this day, I catch it. Some people don't want to hand you money if you're giving them money. They don't want to touch you. They'll put it on the counter. And I'm like, okay. But I get it. I see and I understand it. But it doesn't mean it doesn't impact me in any way. One of the things people used to say that bothered me a lot, they would say, it doesn't bother me. And I would always think to myself, of course not, because you're not the one living with this condition. You don't have to look in the mirror every day and say, wow, there's another spot, or that spot's getting bigger, or there's new spots forming, or what's happening. You don't have to go through that. We do. But what we ask for you to have is a little bit of empathy and understanding that day by day could be different for us. Minute by minute could be different for us. Second by second could be different for us. You might say, hey, let's go get some ice cream. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. And get to the ice cream shop. And I feel a little funny. Too many people, It's one of those things that we deal with vitiligo. We talk about the depression, and it looks different for every person, just like the anxiety. There are some people who are highly functioning and depressed, going through a lot. They can smile, they can laugh, joke, but they get in that car when they can be in the quietness of their own space, and it can be totally different. So I think as a community of people, not just people living with vitiligo, as people, we have to be a little more understanding what people are going through. In particular, when you see somebody who has skin change, like with vitiligo or any other condition, show some kindness, show some understanding. And if you don't understand, do some research to understand what's going on with that person. Because as you're sitting with your buddies, for those who like to crack jokes on people, you think it's funny, ha ha, look at this skin, ha 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 ha. You don't know what that person's going through. And you don't know where that person is in their life. You don't know what their next step is. And sometimes it could be drastic, you know? So we got to be very mindful and open for that. So this is going to be a two-part discussion. When my therapist is able to come on, we're going to dig deeper into mental health and provide some solutions and things that you can do to help you manage your mental health. Now, I can talk about it from my standpoint. I'm not a mental health counselor. I'm not licensed at all. I've done some research. You can do research too, but I can share a few things with you. When you are having those hard days, those days where you're really struggling, find what brings you happiness. Is it art? Maybe you like to draw, paint. Maybe you like to write. Maybe you're a singer and you like to sing, or you like to write songs or poetry, whatever it is you like to do. You play sports. It's not too hot outside. Get out there and play basketball. Video games. Hey, play video games and go back to the sports. It may not always be basketball. It could be tennis, could be pickleball, could be soccer, whatever it is that's going to make you happy. Some people go, oh, video games are bad for you. But for somebody out there, that might be their outlet. That might be what helps them get through the day. Some people is just, maybe they need to sit quietly for a minute and meditate. Mindfulness, just think about the day, how I'm gonna get through tomorrow, what's happening in a few minutes, maybe not necessarily focusing on the future. Let's focus on today and what's happening right now. But also, There's so many other things you could do. Call somebody, call a friend, just talk. Hey, I just need to talk. Talking is very important. It helps us get things out. We don't do enough talking. And for my brothers out there, we don't do enough talking. I get it. We got this armor on, and we're taught to be tough. I get that. But we also have to be able to talk about what we're going through, what we're feeling, what's happening to us, but do it with someone you trust. We just can't talk to everybody. And if you're able to, it'll be nice if you could talk to a therapist or counselor or somebody who is trained to give you the tools that you need to make it through. You know, um, we had a nice discussion at World Vitiligo Day in Indiana. It was great. And one of the most powerful things that I got out of one of the sessions was to write a letter to vitiligo. And that came from Tondra Johnson out of Florida. That was powerful because I never thought about writing to vitiligo, but I don't know what other people wrote, but I think about it to myself. I was just like, hey, you got to live this life with me. I gave you full control. Now I have full control. You got to live it with me. That means that you're going to have to go through the ups and downs and the left and right, sideways, and all those things too. But it was freeing to a certain extent because it allowed me to shed another layer of what I was dealing with my vitiligo. And let me say this, with all the things we go through, the low self-esteem for some people, the insecurities for some, and I say for some, it's not for all, um, you find what's going to help you. But just remember, it's not always vitiligo. Just people living on this earth, we are dealing with so many things that take us through so many emotions and thoughts and feelings. Vitiligo can enhance those things to make you feel much worse. But just know that there's support out there. There are communities out there that can help you. There are people out there that love you, that value you, that care, that say, you know what, you don't have to walk through this by yourself. That's why support communities are so important. They can't provide you with the licensed tools and all that stuff, but we can put you in the right direction. Or you can find somebody you can sit down with, you can connect with, you can talk to, you can share, you can say, hey, I've been feeling this way. And you might say, hey, let's get together, let's go grab a tea or something or whatever, and sit and talk. Give that person an outlet. Support communities are good for that, whether it's a large one or a small one, whether it's here in the US or in another country. If you need support, find that support. Because guess what? People that are dealing with mental health issues, it's not just in the US, it's around the world. It's everywhere. We all are dealing with something. Maybe not always at the same time. Today it could be depression, tomorrow it could be anxiety. The next day it could be substance abuse. You just never know. But find that support community to help you out, to give you that support to lean on. And then if you want to go even further, reach out to the doctors, reach out to your doctor, your dermatologist, whoever, and just say, this is what I'm struggling with. I need help with this. And they're going to give you some names, information that can help you. Because those that truly study vitiligo, they know it's not just on the surface. It's also skin deep. Deep inside of us, we're dealing with things. And they're going to help you. And there's going to be a big push that you'll see in the vitiligo community with vitiligo and mental health. And that's so very important because as we're trying to take care of our skin and learn how to live in the skin, we have to learn how to live in all the noise of the world and everything that's going on and try to figure out, what, how do I navigate through this now? When I'm going to the airport and I got to go through TSA and I'm nervous, not because of, I got something illegal. None of that. No. It's because I get to that TSA line and they always pull me to the side. Got to check your wrist. Yeah, that's what they're looking at. And I'm like, it that's just my skin. But it happens, but it also brings that anxiety of, oh gosh, I gotta go through this again. You know, um, it's just a part of, unfortunately, living with vitiligo. All of us are dealing with this or have dealt with it. Some of us are further along on the journey and we've gotten the tools that we need, and we've learned how to work through this thing. And when I'm feeling this way, I know what to do at that moment. But not everybody has that tool. But I want everybody to know, those of you who are listening, support is important. It's here. If you need it, look it up to find it. If you need help, you can always look it up on your phone. You can call somebody. There are numbers that you can reach out if you're thinking about more drastic measures. There are numbers you can reach out to get immediate help. It's important. We got to take care of each other. I know we've been told so many times in society, you got to do it yourself. I remember being told that. It's called self-esteem. Only one that can help your self-esteem is you. And I'm trying to push through to do this by myself. And I'm like, I'm failing. But then I had to open my eyes and realize we're not designed to do things by ourselves. We are designed to be a part of a world community, to be here for each other, to work for each other, work with each other. And when we're struggling, to be able to say, you know what, lean on me. Yeah, lean on somebody else. Sometimes, you got to just lean over and say, you know what, I can't make it today, but can you help me make it? And also to know we're not alone. We're being told so much, do it on your own. When you do things by yourself, that means you're alone. But we're not designed to be alone. If that's the case, there'll be a world with one person. And how exciting would that be? Just think about it. We are designed to be here in a community of people, whether it's your local, your state, your national, global, whatever community, but we're here for a community. And that's going to help you on this journey when you're struggling and you're feeling like, I can't go on. We got you. Now, when you look at this video, you can take time to pause. There's information embedded in here shortly after this discussion that came from my vitiligo team. That is a site that was put together for people with vitiligo. But there's a lot of great information that I've shared with the community. It's for everybody. So you'll see an article that I took excerpts from that article. As you're reading it, there's information in there that's powerful. That's going to help somebody. And also the links for the PubMed articles or clinical trials are in there also towards the end. Just remember, there's information out there. And if you have the information, share it because somebody needs it. I don't know who needs it. I can't tell. I'm not going to ask. But if somebody needs it, you pause it at that moment. You write that information down. If there's a number you need to call or organization you need to reach out to, do so. Get the help you need. We all need it. So when my therapist is ready and she's feeling better, I will have her come on so we can do a part 2 so we can really dig deep into mental health and provide the tools that we need or that we can use to make sure we are having a good day or learning how to get through those rough moments, those bumps in the road. And then also information we can share with others. And that maybe we can know how to help somebody else when they're going through it, because we all go through it. Even with a smile, you don't know what a person's going through. It's just the reality of life. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. You can like this video. You can subscribe to the channel. You can do all those things that everybody is doing on YouTube. But, to me, this is more about sharing the information that's necessary to reach the people it needs to reach. Okay? Well, you have been listening to Living Life and Love with Vitiligo. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. Take care, peace, and remember to love somebody. As I always say, love your family members. If you got a spouse, love your spouse. Dating somebody, love that person. Love your enemy. They need love too. Yes, they do. Love that coworker that gives you that challenge. Gotta love them. If you work with kids, love those kids. If you work with the general public, you gotta love those people too. No matter what. Look, the world needs love more so now than ever before. But even beyond that, make sure we continue to love people. But most of all, before you can truly love somebody, you have to look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you. Y'all take care. Peace. Once again, this is Mark Braxton, the host of Living Life and Love with Vitiligo. Take care.